Today we're hiking Mount Ward Forest Service Road 27. This is a trail that a lot of people use when they're training to do Grand Canyon rim to rim. It's at the highest elevation gain of this hike, it's 3,917 feet. And round trip, which is technically an out and back, is 15.3 miles, which would roughly take somebody, so says AllTrails, about 9 to 9.5 hours. We are not going to be doing that today. I'm not at that level. We're both not at that level yet. However, we are going to hike probably about 2.5 miles up and 2.5 miles back to give us 5 miles. That's our goal for today. But really our goal, not necessarily is the distance, but it's elevation gain. So we're trying to start getting more and more elevation gain as we progress in our training. We have hiked this before, and that was actually the first time we both got to over 1,000 feet. We made it to 1,060. So that was quite an accomplishment for us, and pretty excited to try to go just a little bit even more. So take you along, show you some of the little pretty spots of this trail. This part of the trail is cold right now. My little thermometer on my backpack says 45, which is probably pretty accurate. That's not really cold, but in the shade, it's definitely cold and there's a bit of a breeze. But we're gonna hit some spots where we'll get warmed up by the sun. The thing this trail has is what we think is some type of old mining remnants. Don't know for sure what they mined here, but I have to look that up. But that's like the first part of what we'll see as we continue climbing. So a few years back, there was a brush fire caused by a car fire that started way down the highway, probably another 30 miles, but ended up coming up here. You can see some of the burn scar right here, but this whole mountain was pretty much torched off, which was really, really devastating, you know, as we drove by it. But, you know, life comes back, and, you know, look down this trail, there's like green grass, there's remnants of these trees, you know, coming back, which is fantastic. So it's good to see the growth coming back. One good thing about this trail is that it has lots of switchbacks, so you're not climbing straight up. So it's, even though as you hear me huffing and puffing, it's not that crazy. So you have little reprieves here and there to kind of catch your breath and get your heart rate to slow down a little bit. Some more concrete. Some sort of structure was here, and then we have up there on the hill, point to it, the trekking pole up there, there's another structure. Again, not sure if this is all kind of part of the same mining thing, but it is kind of in direct relation to that first thing I videoed going down the mountain. You can definitely tell the steeper parts versus the not so steeper parts. We happen to be in one of the steeper parts. This is part of the trail that I showed you when we were driving down the road to get back to the trailhead. You can see it from the highway if you know what you're looking for. It's also a really, really steep part of the trail. It's really funny how this whole thing is steep, but it's funny how your body knows it's steeper. Of course, you start breathing harder and legs feel a little heavier and so forth. But while, like I said earlier, while this is all solidly uphill, there's little parts that kind of aren't so steep, so you get the opportunity to kind of catch your breath and bring your heart rate back down a little bit. Views up here are absolutely amazing. Down there. What truck? That's where we started. So we're at the halfway mark, having a snack. We went 2.59 miles, and the elevation we have right now is 1,154. So we managed to get, once we got here, it took us an hour and 34 minutes to get here to this spot. What I've noticed with our training, both of us have noticed this, is that it's getting easier, which is it's such an accomplishment, and it feels so good to say, oh my gosh, I could keep going. When the first time we hiked this, just to get to 2.25, I was dying. So the training we're doing, is working. But right now, doing the 2 hikes a week has really helped us. Now, I do disclaimer here, Pat doesn't always do 2 hikes a week because he's working, but I am trying really hard to make sure I get 2 hikes a week in. So it's really working, and I'm excited to start getting to the next level, which maybe one of these days I'll conquer this whole mountain soon. Headed back down. But the view is just absolutely so pretty. So way off in the distance, my pole will show you, way right there is the Mogollon Rim. It's Highway 87 that you're seeing down here. And then as I pan over, here is this mountain range right over here is called the Sierra Anchas. And then if you keep going, which we can't see from here, but around, is Lake Roosevelt. So if we made it to the top of Mount Ord, we would be able to see Lake Roosevelt. It's funny, we didn't notice this going up, I guess because we're so hyper focused on going up. But you see this old retaining wall from this road. Pat thinks it could be from the 30s, which very well could be. We're pretty much convinced this was probably the old road up to Mount Ord and not the other one. Wow, look at that. That is really cool. It's got all this pretty moss growing in between the layers of rocks. Up here, look at all this moss. It's so pretty. I find myself kind of looking down as I'm walking at all the rocks. There's so many pretty rocks. I've found really cool shapes and colors, and this is probably a geologist's dream hike. There's some of these rocks that look like this one here, pieces of petrified wood. I know they're not, but in this little, there's another piece over here, like right here, in this little section, there seems to be quite a few pieces that kind of resemble petrified wood. It's pretty cool. This rock reminds me of tree bark. Just looks like tree bark. It's kind of cool. Cool. And this stuff, I believe, is what's chunking off and making the rocks that I think look like petrified wood. It's coming from this section right here because there's a chunk there. It kind of looks like it. I knew that people do this. I'm seeing the tire tracks. We are witnessing it. I think they are crazy. Oh my God, there's no way in God's green earth you could pay me to drive up a Jeep.
Like your grandparents taking the grandson out, letting him drive.
Yeah, the kid was driving, the grandpa was in the passenger seat and grandma was in the back. No, you can't pay me enough to drive up this thing. No way. Okay, this is one of the more sketchier spots that these Jeeps are going over. I will tell you, if you look, well, hopefully the video will do it justice. Somebody got awfully close to the edge. And that's the edge. Down, down, down they would go. I mean, I am not a four-wheel drive up kind of girl, but I mean, there is a bit of a way to pull wider, but I don't know. That to me is sketchy. And like I said before, there's no way I would, for any amount of money, go up this thing in a Jeep. But more power to them. They got more guts than I do. So, just to do a recap of the hike, we hiked, it took us 3 hours and 26 minutes, which was a little bit longer than I expected, but that's because I've been videoing. It takes longer to do that. We ended up hiking 5.22, almost made 5 1/4. Note that would be our longest so far hike. And our elevation was 1,177 feet. So we're making progress on the elevation. Part of the problem is we don't have a lot of time. And so I think we're gonna have to devote a longer day to get that higher elevation, don't you think?
We will.
Yeah. So our next goal, I'd like to see us get to 1,500. That's my next goal. Of course, it'll be probably more miles, and that's good. That's fine. How do you feel?
I feel good. You know, I got some sore spots but
for the most part, the treadway is pretty good. So on the Reynolds Rockwell treadway test, it's probably between a 0.5 and a 1. It's really smooth. You know, there's just a lot of incline. It's an old Forest Service road. I think they've been doing some mining up here. There's a lot of quads and off-road vehicles that also use the same trail. There's a lot of ruts and reels because of the rain runoff, but it's still manageable for a hiker. It's a good trail. It's a good treadway. It's a good vertical climb and then a vertical descent coming back. And I think I would recommend this to anybody who's just trying to get some miles under their belt in regards to training to hike whatever hike you're planning on hiking. This is a really good trail for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said before, it's widely used for the people training for the Grand Canyon, and I'll put directions in the description on how to get here from Phoenix and from the north. It's actually right off of Highway 87, so it's very easy to get to, very easy to park. It's right there behind me. Can't really see it, but it's that way. And it's in All Trails, so you can find it in All Trails, and it's listed under Mount Ord, Forest Road 27.